Stephen, feeling pretty good this morning, huh?
Absolutely. Anytime you get a big win in the East, it's hard to beat. And I know the Giants had their share of challenges yesterday with their injuries, but thought we played well as a team and, had some things we had to overcome early. But I think overall our team really played well and finished strong.
There's been so much talk, Stephen, over the years on getting turnovers, whether it was from Wade Phillips all the way through, all the defensive coaches that you've had. And this year it happens every game. Like, I expect you guys next week to have 2 or 3 turnovers. I know that's not realistic, but it's just like at this point, every game you watch, the team is getting turnovers. And why do you think it's so different this year that the defense is getting these turnovers, which, whatever it was, just wasn't accomplished in the previous years?
Well, I think it started, obviously, when Mike got here, stressing the ball. And, we had some opportunities last year, as we all know. Jerry and I were talking yesterday when he was making those plays. He was real close on a lot of balls last year. Had a couple of that he was just right there, ready to make some picks, and didn't quite make them. Whereas this year he seems to be getting them all and close on some others. So, but at the end of the day, I just think it's what we stress when we draft. Players who can make plays on the ball. It's an ever scouting report. We give a scale of, the plays, ball skills, that type of thing for the DBs, and then certainly with the linebackers as well. But, it's a big point that we go over every week, and, Mike leads the way with it, and Dan's done a great job of coaching it with his staff. And, at the same time, overall, I think we've done a good job of protecting the ball. Had a couple of unfortunate situations there yesterday, but I just think as we move forward, we know in the NFL, if you win the turnover battle, you give yourself a great chance to win the game.
Now, we've heard both Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson say that the team that they see on the field right now reminds them of what y'all had in the early 90s. Can you talk a little bit about what you see as similar to those teams, whether it be team speed, confidence? What exactly do you think they see in this team that reminds them of those teams then?
Well, I agree. The things I would say that I see that are very, similar or I'm familiar with is, it starts at the top with the quarterback. I mean, Troy was obviously a great leader. I think Dak is the same. He has high expectations, not only for himself, but for his teammates. He's very unselfish. He's all about the team, not about individual goals. And, so I think it starts there. The other thing I would say is this team plays with a swagger. They got a lot of confidence on both sides of the ball. Offensively, obviously, another thing that's very familiar is, the balance that we have with our team. And there's no question in my mind Troy could have been one of those quarterbacks probably his whole career, like a Marino, that could have passed for 400 yards a game if he needed to, but that wasn't what was called upon. And as we know, these last 4 wins that we've had, I mean, Dak's played great, and he's had very productive games, but he's not needing to throw for 400 or 500 yards, to keep us in these games. And the balance we have with our rushing attack really, I think makes it really difficult on opposing defenses. And then, on the flip side of the ball, you brought it up, it's team speed, which reminds me a lot of those teams. We have great depth. If you'll remember, we had great rotations in the defensive line, which we currently have now in terms of being able to keep players fresh for the fourth quarter when you need them. Great speed at the linebacking positions, obviously with Micah leading the way there. And then, of course, I do think we've got playmakers and great leadership in the back end as well. So, there are a lot of similarities to the two teams. Now, this team has a lot to prove and a long ways to go before you can actually, I think, compare this team to those teams that won 3 out of 4 in the early 90s.
Man, I mean, you're talking our language here. We're excited, but there is a long way to go. I'm wondering this because I know you have spoke about this and Jerry has spoke about this. One of your biggest disappointments of y'all's career was not getting Romo a championship team / a championship. And now you have another quarterback that looks like an elite quarterback that can beat the best teams. What are you doing differently through Dak's career that you felt like you failed with Romo's career to possibly give him a championship team?
Well, I think all those things. I mean, obviously at the time we felt like we were surrounding Tony with good players, but, you look at the offensive side of the ball and, I think it goes without saying we've got two, I think really special running backs. Got a great receiving core out there, with CD and Amari and Gallup on the way. And obviously Sed Wilson and Noah are filling in admirably in Gallup's absence. So, there's great depth there. And then the offensive line, I think it's starting to really come around and feel like the offensive line that that we've always felt like we had. Obviously injuries took a big toll on that line last year, and that affected obviously our offense, whether it was Dak, whether it was Dalton, whether it was Zeke. At the end of the day, those guys don't go around complimenting the guys up front and really taking care of those guys because they need them. And I think this offensive line group's playing well. I think we got players stepping up when they need to. Obviously, we think we've got a couple starting caliber players, that aren't out there starting right now. When you talk about a Steele and a McGovern, coupled in there with Lyle and the rest of the group, it's a deep offensive line in our mind. We got some young guys coming as well. And, I just think that, we're doing a good job on the offensive side for Dak. And then, of course, the real disappointing thing last year was just how we played defense. It's just not something that was acceptable. And, we've had some really good defenses around here, but we've never really had, those defenses that struggle like we did last year. And I think, we're answering the bell. And the good news about this defense is I think they're as up. I think we're going to continue to play better. As we move forward, we're going to be getting players back that are only going to help us. And, it's a long journey. Everybody says, well, are you going to have room for all these guys? I promise you, in a 17-game season, we're going to need them all.
It's interesting. I'm sure I'm going to ask about that question in just a second, but, you bring up the offensive line, and Terrence Steele is playing admirably right now. Has he gained – McCarthy has said multiple times the offensive lines that play together are usually the ones that are most successful. Is there a little bit of fear of taking Steele out, or do you want to kind of leave him in and let that offensive line be right now?
Those things take care of themselves. Obviously, Lyle's a great player for us, and that'll obviously be addressed when he gets back. But feel like he'll be ready to step in. 5 weeks is a long time. The good news is he's been around the building now, for 2 weeks, and this will be his third week, and we'll welcome him back, and it'll be great to have him back.
So another guy that it's just amazing to me how well the defense is playing without DeMarcus Lawrence. Can you give an update on DeMarcus Lawrence? I know you have the game and the bye about possibly when he could come back and join this team.
Well, we're just the fortunate thing is we're going to get him back. It's still a little early to really start to pin down what we're looking at, but it's going to be several games past the bye before we're going to get him back. But most people would agree he was probably our best defensive player before he got hurt. And it's going to be great when we do get him back. But, we're going to have to continue to weather the storm. We should get Dorrance Armstrong back after the bye, which would be great to have him back. And certainly got Tristan Hill and Gallimore coming back. So all these guys are going to be, big pluses for us when they come back, and look forward to having them back. But Gallimore and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to, take some more time here, and it's probably, a month plus before we get them back.
I know that Trevon Diggs has been asking for wide receiver reps in practice, and Dak was like, hey, you just need to relax just a little bit. Are you considering it now, or do you have enough wide receivers?
Well, we've got such a great core out there, with Gallup right there on the cuspices of coming back. And you certainly could see, I could see where Diggs might see himself as a Deion-esque type player. Certainly Deion made some great plays at receiver for us in our Super Bowl runs, but I don't think we need him just yet. What we need him to continue to do is make those turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. But you can obviously see, he comes from a good lineage with his brother being one of the best receivers in the league. he's certainly got those wide receiver ball skills.
So I know you get to see practice some, and so you have an idea when you have a play where it looks like a pitch to Zeke and it's not, but then you throw it over the top for a wide open touchdown. But as a Cowboy fan, I've just been so impressed how Kellen Moore is just getting the most out of this offense. It's a very talented offense, but then being able to get the 30-plus points on a pretty much weekly basis. Can you talk about Kellen Moore and his creativity and how he's getting the most out of the talent?
Well, hats off to him. I mean, he just continues to mature as a coordinator. I mean, one of the things is a big compliment is when Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach who was a play caller most of his career at Green Bay, comes in, and one of the first things he says is, I want to go ahead and get this out. It's going to be hard on me, but I want to keep Kellen Moore as this offensive coordinator. It's really clicking with Dak, and I think his interactions with Mike and Doug Nussmeier and company have only made him better, and I think he's going to continue to grow as a coordinator. He has a great way about himself, a great relationship with Dak and our offensive lineup, and his future's bright.
Well, and that being said, I know you love the Tolos out there, and they're very nervous. They're like, hey, are we going to be able to keep this guy around? Do you think about that at all right now, or are you just like, this is this season, that's all that's on my mind?
Well, you've got to deal with those things in the off season. Right now, everybody's in the moment. Right now, everybody's focused on the New England Patriots. We're not worried about who's up there in the bye week, what we're going to do the week after that against the Vikings. All this is all about the New England Patriots. And I think Mike's doing a great job of that, keeping the focus where it should be. I know we're hard. The team's hard at it again, focusing on the Patriots. And, we'll worry about those things in the off season. We've dealt with these things before. Actually dealt with it with Kellen this past off season. But he loves the Cowboys, loves our organization. And, I know at some point he's going to get a great opportunity, and not unlike the Sean Paytons of the world and the Mike Zimmers of the world, you're doing things right when those type of things are happening to you. So we'll just worry about the Patriots this week and deal with those things in the off season.
All right, so this is a get-to-know Stephen Jones type of question. Right now, the Braves are playing the Brewers in playoff baseball, and I know that you're a football guy, played college football at Arkansas. As a kid or as an adult, did you have any other interests in sports besides football?
Probably the sport I loved to play other than football was basketball. But my father was actually a big-time baseball fan and a big-time baseball player when he wasn't playing football. But I did grow up. My team growing up was the Cardinals because we lived up there in Arkansas, and the Travelers played in Little Rock, and they were the farm team of the Cardinals. So Jerry would take me out there and watch those Traveler games, and I did get to go to a few Cardinal games when I was young. So certainly still continue to watch and follow baseball, love what the Rangers are doing. I know they're going to get back on track sooner than later, and they got a beautiful stadium out there, and look forward to their future as well.
Wow, and you bring up basketball, man. Everybody was really stoked to see that Luka and Dirk were up in the suite during that game. Was that Dirk trying to show what championship-level sports is all about?
That's it. We Jerry and I both went and gave him a good handshake, hoping some of that championship mojo would rub off on us. And certainly I think there's a lot of great things in store for Luka, and it was great to have those two gentlemen in the box up there, and great to see them and see Nowitzki and what he's done for the Mavericks, and know what Luka's already done and what he's going to do for the Mavericks going forward.
All right, Stephen, so I know that you get into scouting a lot. What is too tall for a football player? I know we had Ed Too Tall Jones, and Dirk's there at 7 foot tall, and you're meeting him. What height do you go, that's probably too tall, and they're going to destroy your knees at that height?
Well, about, we always think anything above about 6'7" starts to be a challenge. And certainly those defensive linemen can get up under a big, long tackle if they get to be too long. But certainly there's always an exception. And they get to be much past 6'7", you start to scratch your head and wonder if the leverage is going to work against them.
Well, Stephen, we always appreciate talking with you every single Monday at this time, and we look forward to it next week after the Patriots. And also, we really enjoy it on a Cowboys Victory Monday. Thanks, Stephen.
Hey, great being on, guys. Have a good week.